to the life of the Prophet Muhammad. Yes, we're talking about his marriage, how it all happened. Interesting, Maulana, that she was older than him, so that there's nothing new sometimes when we look back at the way things have happened in the past.
Yeah, definitely. You know, that's what the great personalities are the personalities who never go through with what is happening in the society. They try to change the social values, and they set up the best values, and they pick and they portray with their activity, the application of those things, not just preaching by tongue, rather by application of it. It is quite interesting that unfortunately some of the enemies of mankind, I can call them, because the many enemies of Prophet Muhammad are not just enemies of Prophet Muhammad.
Okay.
Enemies of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam are enemies of mankind, because he was the one who portrayed the values of the mankind in the society which was barbaric. So he was. They blame him as a person who had lots of wives.
Oh, okay. But
So-
it wasn't so.
And he was they use some wrong words which I don't want to use here, because we honor our Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Yeah.
So I want all of them to listen carefully what I'm going to speak about, the real fact about our Rasulullah. Unfortunately, you will see more than 10,000 sites are now you will see in websites
Yeah, on the
more
internet,
than
you mean.
10 internet.
Uh-huh.
More than 10,000 sites. They are officially talking bad about Rasulullah. So how much people are investing money on enmity towards a great personality?
Okay. So they're trying to change what history says.
Yes. No, the fact.
The fact.
The fact is, if he was a personality like what people talking about, the first marriage he had while he was 25 years of age, and he married to 40 years a Lady Khadija, salamullahi alayha, right? While he had opportunity, because many Arabs, the heads of the Arabs, they proposed him their best daughters.
Okay.
He had opportunity to choose among them, but he never went to choose one of them.
Okay.
But he looked on the character of the Lady Khadija.
Okay.
So he chose the Lady Khadija,
Yeah.
and he was stick with only one wife till he was 50 years of age. Till the
Oh,
departure.
So all that helped
Yes.
enhance his character and
Yes.
tell us more about
Yes.
him.
25 years he was stick with, or 26 years according to one of the other tradition, he stick with only single marriage, only one wife. So if you talk about the age of 25 till 50, that's the major time.
Yeah,
While if you
another
talk
25 years.
yes, after departure of the Lady Khadija, when she died, he married to other wife, then other 3,
It
4,
seems as though
5
he was
like that.
looking for her, don't you think? He
Pardon
was
me?
looking for something that he had lost in her. Maybe that's why he had all these other wives.
Normally,
Maybe, we don't know.
in Muslim world, normally, see a man, if he is a single, it's not the people not looking good upon that personality. So it's a for preserving the character, it's good to be married one. Being single itself is not recommended in Islam.
But how did he manage to do that for those 25 years?
He was okay with that,
Okay.
because the lady was so sacrificing that because she was the richest personality in the Arab. She donated everything to Rasulullah so he can promote the Islamic message. And one important thing we can see here, that many people donate their wealth, but she was the personality who never said to Rasulullah that this is what I am donated. No,
Okay.
this is what is yours. You spend according to as per you, how you want to spend.
Okay.
And she never
made
recommended
no
doing-
demands or anything, nor
Because,
asked
yeah.
him to. Well, today's world we talk about prenuptial arrangements, nothing of the sort.
No,
Yes.
it was totally sacrificing nature of that lady we can talk about. So she donated everything what she had, and she herself was one of the obedient to Rasulullah. After she heard that this is the message of Allah, he is the messenger, she said she's the first who submitted to Islam, who embraced Islam. And she stick with Rasulullah until she departed from this world, right? And after that also he married to different wives, and sometimes somebody talk about the Lady Khadija, the first wife. She used to cry for her. One of the wives, Lady Aisha, she asked, why you are talking about, why you always cry and weep about that lady while she was old? You have younger wives now. He replied, Lady Khadija, my wife, was the lady who used to help me while I was alone.
Okay. So there was the difference. There was
difference.
Something different in him.
Lots of difference,
Yes.
not something, lots of difference between the character of Lady Khadija and the others. Though most of the wives of Rasulullah was vibrant, and they did a lot of effort to promote the Islamic message, and they helped Rasulullah. But you cannot compare with those who help you in the time of need.
Yeah, definitely.
And no, I want to continue that point I started. This is something which we need to understand, that if a man who having lust or something like what people talk about him, he could marry while he was young, while he was 25, while he was 30 or 35 up to 40, but he never married any other wife till the 50. So if he married after each marriage after 50 years, you will see some of the philosophy behind that. He wanted to set up one Islamic law, so he himself applied and he asked the Muslims to do so.
Okay.
And then some of the wives who were old enough and they had no husband, and normally, the wives who are old and they are not having any wealth, nothing, so people not used to take them as a wife.
Okay.
So Rasulullah took them as a wife so he can able to cater them and he will to look after them. Most of the wives who were just living in the house of Rasulullah, like their age was like 2 years old, like 70 plus. So they were not living as a husband and wife, but he married to them and he catered them and he kept them at home because of their qualities, because of something he wanted to portray in the Islamic society, that this is what you have to do.
Okay, so maybe
with the needy and widows,
and
most
the
of them
older,
widows.
Yes, and you don't
Yes.
put away your older
And some of them
folks.
like from Jewish background, and because people not used to marry like that. They had some prejudice in their hearts. So Rasulullah said, no, you should not. Once a person embrace Islam, it's a Muslim, whether he is having Christian background or Jewish background, whatever.
Okay.
So that's how he portrayed the Islamic values. But unfortunately, some of the enemies, they don't want to listen to all those things. They don't want to go to know about the real facts in the history, and just they talk about something which they have in their mind.
Okay, good. Well, it's time for some more music. And yes, as I said earlier, aren't we learning a lot today? I was about to ask you, was she Muslim from where he was? The first wife?
The first wife of Lady Khadija, right from Mecca.
Right from the Mecca,
Mecca.
okay.
And her lineage also traced back to same lineage with Rasulullah.
Okay.
From the Abraham and the Ishmael and the Adnan, and from the same lineage.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe that too played a part in his.
Not only that, we have because Rasulullah himself in his teaching, he said, though the family and the forefathers and lineage will affect a lot, but that's not enough. There were people who were with the same lineage, like his own uncle, Abu Lahab, was the bloodiest enemy of Rasulullah, and he was the one who created lots of problem against him. A whole chapter we have, Tabbat yada Abi Lahabin wa tab, in Quran, means Allah cursed Abu Lahab, that he said his hands should cut off.
Oh.
Because he did lots of he created lots of suffering to Rasulullah in his missionary work. So it's just being associate with the good family or good lineage is not enough, but your character is so important. Of course, that having good lineage is good thing, but not enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so we're looking at his traits and all the good things about his character. What else can we?
Yeah, then the marriage, and then his personal appearance was handsome, features, and he had a bright face. So and they have some books written about the face of the people, the appearance of the people in those books.
and
Normally
about
mentioned there,
fair
because we had no
countenance and
photography right now.
yes.
We had no film at that time. So some people they saw and they noted down that this man is appearing like that. So this was mentioned about.
And what about Lady Khadija? Was she also?
Lady Khadija was also not mentioned much about her.
Okay.
But we have this about Rasulullah, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He bestowed to announce the prophethood at age of 40. But according to what we believe, he was the prophet. According to what we have a hadith, he himself said, "Ana nabiyyun wal Adamu bainal ma'i wat teen." I was the prophet while Adam was in between clay and water. Meaning his prophethood was prescribed long before, but the ground was not prepared for announcement of his prophethood. So he announced his prophethood while he was 40 years of age.
Okay.
Yes. And then called people to the truth. Unfortunately, the people who holding the positions there, they thought him as a threat, and then they prosecuted him. And even 3 years he was there with lots of sanctions by kuffar, or the enemies. So there were no trade with him. Even they had lack of food and water. So they suffered for 3 years, being a bit away from Mecca. But they never left their message. They continued propagating Islamic message. And then, according to the revelation of Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him to migrate from Mecca. So he was, after announcement of the prophethood, he was in Mecca for 13 years. And then he migrated to Medina, where people used to call him, and they asked him to come there and propagate Islam. And their people are more receptive.
Okay.
So he himself, with his family and few companions, migrated from Mecca to Medina. So we have two terminologies created there.
Okay.
Those who migrated from Mecca to Medina, we call them Muhajirin, the immigrants.
Okay.
And those who used to live in Medina, they supported those who came, because those who left Mecca, not in ordinary situation, because they was in threat.
Yeah, they were
And
forced to leave.
Yes, they're forced to leave. They left their home, property, whatever they had, and they enter into Medina empty-handed. So they need home, they need shelter, they need something. So first thing what Rasulullah did, that's how this man created the best society. First thing what he did, he asked the Muslims that each one of the Ansar means the people who used to live in Medina. And Muhajir means people who came from Mecca, right? The immigrants. Each one of from Ansar, from Medina, will be call himself as a brother to the person who came from Mecca, Muhajir. So Muhajir and Ansar, they became, he created brotherhood among them. So brotherhood not just by tongue.
Okay.
They shared whatever they had, the Ansar, those who were in Medina, whatever they had, they shared half with person who came from Mecca. So by this way, he was able to maintain the balance in society. That's why in Islam we have, in Muslims normally they are charitable persons. They are, normally in Ramadan, in other months, they give lots of charity. That's how it came. He promoted that one, that once you have something, you have to take care of someone who don't have it.
Okay.
So that's the first foundation he led in Medina. So now Muhajirin who came empty-handed, they had something equal with the brother from Medina.
Okay.
So then he built a mosque, the first mosque in Medina. And then he slowly, one by one, he was able to upbring the mentality of those Arabs. The people, you can imagine the mentality of those pagans. Like a person came to Rasulullah, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, while he was describing the bounties in heaven and the paradise. So he said, do we have quarrel in paradise, battlefield? Rasulullah said, no. Paradise is a place where we have only peace. No quarrel, no battle, no killing. He said, then I don't like paradise. Because it shows how the mentality of those paganism, those Arabs. If they had no battle, if they had no killings, they were not able to sleep properly. So that's how the mentality they had. But Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he changed their mentality, and now they turned into a sacrificing nature people.
Okay.
The people who
And
sacrifice
more peaceful.
a lot and
Yes.
more peaceful. Now we have in Islam, the basic thing is once we meet each other, first thing we start, Assalamu alaikum, meaning what? Peace be unto you, meaning no harm from me.
Yeah.
So that is the message. Islam means, the root word is silm, meaning the peace. So that's the message of Islam. So whoever going out of this way, though they're carrying the label of Islam, but we can't call them Muslims. So Muslim is not just carrying the label. The Muslim is one who really submit and who really be peaceful person. That's we call Muslim.
Living the life.
Living life of
the life.
the peaceful life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So we're going to have some more music.
Oh Allah, send abundant peace and blessings on Muhammad, who is your beloved prophet from all of creation. Oh Allah, send abundant peace and blessings on Muhammad, who is your beloved prophet from all of creation. Oh Allah, send abundant peace and blessings on Muhammad, who is your beloved prophet from all of creation. On your birth, truth was revealed and error annihilated. On your birth, truth was revealed and error annihilated. On your birth, truth was revealed and error annihilated. The heavens decorated, angels celebrated. Oh Allah, send abundant peace and blessings on